Hello children, welcome to English class. Today we are going to learn how to recite a poem. So in yesterday's class as we written a poem on our own using so many titles, right? So during the online class I heard so many children have done their own poem and they have written their names below. So as I have posted the offline video yesterday, so you also, I think that those who are watching the offline videos also written a poem and you're the best author for that particular poem, right? In the 7th standard itself, as you have created a poem, so just write your name under the poem and just post it in my WhatsApp so that I can create a video and then I can send it to the principal. Those created videos will be appreciated by more teachers. So kindly do this, children. And today's class just we are going to learn how to recite a poem. So already we have learned how to do a presentation in front of the class, isn't it? So what are the things you have maintained to present in front of the class? So just you have to look after the eye contact and the body posture, and you have to then and there where you have to stop, you have to need to stop there, and the voice, the modulation should be high and low, and the clarity of your words should be proper. And before all these, you have to prepare well for your presentation. That was the main thing, right? So same thing has been followed to recite a poem in front of the classroom or maybe in front of the audience. So the first one is of preparedness, that is of you have to rehearse yourself for so many times so that you doesn't want to keep any notes or chits during the presentation. So avoid those using notes or whatever else. Then second thing is of while you stand front, you should have the eye contact of each and every people who are sitting and watching your rhyme poem. Then the next one, you have to maintain your body posture. So you have to stand erect. Not only erect, you have to move your head there. That is the third rule. And the fourth rule is of you have to give the pass for wherever needed. For example, if the important point should be given, you can have a pass over there. Then the clarity, the pronunciation should be good, and each and every word which you are pronouncing should be very louder and it should be very clear. So these are the things. As you know, to me the feedback, what you can do, so as you are presenting your presentation in front of the audience, no? So you can give some papers to write about yourself, how you have given the presentation under these parameters. What are the parameters given for you? Preparedness, eye contact, body posture, pass, and clarity. So among all these, the one thing I would say, for example, if the teacher says you to say any poem or anything else in front of the class, what will happen? So automatically you will be shivering, isn't it? So for what? For example, in front of the teacher, if the teacher says, come friend, come on, tell about yourself, means you won't open your mouth, you will feel shy. So you should have the confidence on you and you have to follow that and you have to stay strong. So whatever the teacher says or whoever says, so you should have the guts to say the answer, isn't it? So that was the thing here. It was given the main thing that how to recite a poem. You have to throw out your nervousness. You have to throw out your shy. You have to throw out everything. You have to be confident in yourself and you have to do well. So this is the way you have to present yourself while you're doing the presentation as well as you're reciting a poem. So here is the practice question 8 given for you. That is, what is the subject of the poem? So here is the poem Garden Snakes. So from this we are going to write the practice question 8 now. So the Garden Snakes, it's a poem written by the Muriel L. Son, and here is the poem for you. I saw a snake and ran away. Some snakes are dangerous, they say, but mother says that kind is good and eats up insects for his food. So when he wiggles in the grass, I'll stand aside and watch him pass and tell myself there's no mistake. It's just a harmless garden snake. So here The author says that he doesn't have the fear. Why? Because of his mother's words. Because his mother saying that you should not afraid of this garden snakes. It won't do anything. It just eats the insects. So from the mother words, he got the confidence, isn't it? So that he was not fear about this garden snake, and he was standing and seeing when the snake was moving in the grass. So this is the poem written about the garden snake. So here is the question. So what is the main subject of the poem? Here the main subject of the poem is the garden snake. Even though he has the fear, the mother said that the snake will not bite you, it will eat only the insects, and it was a harmless animal. So same like that, he he thinks that it won't do anything, and he was not fear about the snake. So that was the main subject of the poem. And the another two questions are given there. Do you think the poet should go near the garden snake? So do you think the poet should go near the garden snake? You have to give reason for your particular answer. Then have you ever encountered a dangerous looking animal? What happened? So your encountered means, for example, unexpectedly an animal was standing near you. For example, a tiger, one who comes near you. What will you do? So it was a dangerous animal, right? So what will you do? You will run, or you will beat, or you will kill. So whatever else, what happened, you have to write it in this incidents. Then the next thing we are going to learn about is perspective. So this perspective, the way we see or we think about something is called the perspective. So it shapes out our thoughts about the things or people around us. So it is true for the poets as well. So here the perspective shapes the way they look at the subject of their poem. So here is the example given for you for the perspective. That means the way we think or see. For example, in the poem The Garden Snake, the mother says it was harmless animal. So that the poet thought that it was a harmless animal. So here the way the author thinks is known as the perspective, right? So here the example given down. What does the poet think about the garden snake? The poet thinks that the garden snake is harmless because of his mother's word. So how does it shape the poet's view about garden snakes? The poet believes that it is okay to watch a garden snake pass by instead of running away. So he come to a thought, isn't it? For example, here they have written 9. So some will say it is 9 and some will say it is 6. So it depends on the human thinking, isn't it? Same like that. Here the poet hears about the snakes, that it was harmless, so that he was not having any fear and he was looking after the snake. So it was the thought about a particular person is known as perspective. So here is another poem that is about the shed. So there is a shed at the bottom of a garden with a spider's web hanging across the door. So the hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. When I am in bed, I lie and I listen. I'll open that door one day. So here the poet says, there is a shed at the bottom of the garden, it seems. So with a spider's web hanging over there in the door, and the hinges. So hinges means, for example, in the door it was attached to a wall, so it will help us to open the door and to close. That is known as hinges. That are rusty. Rusty means what? For example, the iron rust. Iron, when it gets old, what will happen there? You can get the rust, isn't it? So those rust particle is known as rusty. And creak in the wind. For example, when the door moves by the wind, we can hear the creak sound, isn't it? So when I am in bed, he could hear the sound of the doors, it seems. So he wants to open the door one day. Then the next one is there is a dusty old window around at the side with 3 cracked pans of glass. So I often think there's something staring at me each time that I pass. I'll beep through that window one day. So here you want to see someone is beeping over there, it seems. So someone, he thinks that someone is staring at me. So staring at the author, isn't it? So he want to see who was there in the window which was cracked into the three pans of glass. Pans means what? A lightweight glass. So it was cracked over there. So from that, he's going to see what was inside the shed, it seems. So here the next paragraph says, my brother says there's a ghost in the shed who hides under the rotten floorboards. So that means here the brother was making frightened that the younger brother, that he says there's a ghost in the shed. So here, who hides under the rotten floorboards. That means rotten means what? Decayed, isn't it? So as if I ever dare to set foot inside, he will jump out and chop off my head, but I will take a peek one day. So here, when he tried to enter it inside, his brother will say there was a ghost inside the shed and he will jump out, it seems. So who? His brother, the author's brother. So he will, so but this author, he wants to peek one day. Peek means he has to enter inside the shed one day. So I know that there isn't really a ghost. My brother tells lies to keep the shed for his den. So there isn't anyone staring or making strange noises, and the spider has been gone from his web since I don't know when. I'll go into that shed one day soon, but not just yet. So here the poet says there is no ghost or anyone else staring at us. So here the brother was telling lie because she has to make that shed as a den, it seems. So she is telling so many lies like that, and there is no spiders at all. All the spiders have gone from the web, it seems. So one day he was very eager to look into the shed, but up till now he has never entered the shed. So this is the poem which has been written by the author Frank Flynn. So here from this shed poem, we come to know about the subject of what was the subject of the poem is about. Here the boy thinks, so these are the thing was here, there, but nothing was there. So as you want to get inside the shed, isn't it? So this was the main subject given in that. So by this you have to finish this practice question 9. So learn the meanings which was given with the word hinge, a folding device attached to a door which allows it to open or close. Rusty, covered with rust, I told you, the iron rust. And creak is a verb that to make noise when an object is moved, and dare to be brave enough to do something difficult. So these are the 4 words which we have to learn with the meaning. And the question, the shed in the poem has been described as haunted. What would you want to do if such a shed was near your house? So if you see a shed near your house, what will you do? So you have to give reason for your answers. Then do you think the poet should enter the shed described in the poem? So maybe he will enter, isn't it? So give reason, because it's a thought. He has to enter inside the shed, isn't it? So these are the 2 things we learned. What are the 2 things we learned? We learned how to recite a poem, and we learned about the perspectives of the poem, isn't it? So do the practice question 8 and practice question 9 and send it through Google Classroom. Thank you, dear children.